Good Sunday morning. I'm meteorologist Brooke Martell. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. It's been a bit of a muggy one, right? So we have that monsoonal moisture still influencing our local conditions. We're not just talking about the rain that we saw yesterday, but also it contributes to the muggy conditions as well. That increased humidity, that's not really going anywhere as we get into the next couple of days. And we're also going to be heating up. So temperatures continue to climb, especially as we get into about midweek. But even after that, going into Friday, we're still on the warmer side. Strong rip currents back at the coastline. We have that beach hazard statement. It goes into effect today. It's going to last until Tuesday. And we have these astronomical tides that are really going to increase that high tide to about 7, maybe even 7.5 feet. So we're talking about that in just a moment. But here's a look at that First Alert 7 Doppler, focusing on the satellite imagery here. Just around 6 o'clock this morning, we still have those mid to high level clouds and a lot of that moisture coming up from the south and the southeast, again, bringing the increased humidity for us. And here's a look at the precipitation. This is the last 2 hours. You can see where it's coming from, again, kind of pushing into the desert region and then portions of the higher elevations. There is that opportunity that we could see more of this activity going into today. We're expecting more of it as we get into this week, but we also can't rule out the chance that some of it makes its way west into the valleys as well as along the coast. We saw that yesterday with some light sprinkles in the early evening. For this morning, those temperatures, this is going to be right around 7 a.m. We're looking at mid to upper 60s up and down the coast by that point already. So it already feels warm, and we're not getting great recovery in the overnight hours when it comes to cooling down. Really same deal or very similar conditions over the valleys. We have mid 60s to about the upper 60s, depending on where you're at. And actually pretty similar there also for the mountains. 78 degrees over Borrego Springs, taking you out to the coastline. Moderate rip current risk. Look at this water temperature. 68 degrees up to 74 degrees. So warm ocean waters for us today. Wave heights from 2 to 4 feet. We're getting that high tide peaking around 3.5 feet at around 10:30 this morning. And then low tide returns to about 2:30 this afternoon, close to about 2.5 feet. So if we take a look at the hourly forecast here for Mission Beach, we're going to be trending right around those mid 70s with that cloud cover, with that humidity. Back to the beach hazard statement. So this actually goes into effect at 11 o'clock this morning. It's going to last until 11 p.m. on Tuesday. And I talked about it earlier, the high tides from 7 to 7.5 feet. Yeah, we could definitely see some minor coastal flooding. Those wave heights up to about 5 feet. So this is something that'll stick with us as we get into the upcoming days here, starting your week, again, Monday and Tuesday. And I always say this, if you're going to the beach, you have the beach day plan, make sure that you're setting up swimming, surfing, whatever it may be, near a lifeguard tower and check in with them. Ask about the conditions and where it's safest to get in the water, or if it's even safe to get in the water at all, because we do have those really strong currents as we get into the rest of this week, or this upcoming week, I should say. Here's a look at your planner for the Inland Valley communities. So you can see right around the low 80s already by noon. We'll be closer to those mid 80s by about 3 o'clock. Mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies. Again, mid to high level cloud cover lingering from that tropical activity. But up and down the coastline for today, we have those low to mid 70s. We have 80s and 90s over your inland valleys, 80s and 90s for the mountains, right around 107 for the desert region. So you can see as we go into early this afternoon, late this morning even, we have that chance for more rain. Even thunderstorms, we can't rule that out either. I know this is a really long forecast, but I want to give you all the details. And you can see the clouds lingering for most of the afternoon. Chances for that clearing as we head into early this evening. And then we'll see the return of some of that marine layer in the overnight hours like we usually do. That will stay with us as we get into portions of the late morning before it starts to gradually mix out with more chances of that rain over the mountains, over the desert region, but also we can't rule out the opportunity for that moisture today and tomorrow to make its way west over the valleys and coastline. So here's a look at the futurecast humidity. You can see we're looking ahead to about noon today. Still pretty high in certain areas like Oceanside, La Jolla, even for Imperial Beach, but we're hovering right around 60% for areas like Escondido. And so you're going to feel the muggy conditions. And like I said, in the overnight hours, we just don't have great recovery when it comes to cooling down. And then add the humidity into the mix, it just kind of feels uncomfortable. Might make it a little bit difficult to sleep even. Here's a look at the heat risk map from National Weather Service. This is on Wednesday, one of the warmest days of this upcoming week. Take a look at the top here, major category. So you could see some pockets developing for areas like Escondido, just south of Poway, El Cajon, but also, of course, over the desert region near those mountain communities. But now we're seeing, again, that heat risk be a factor over the valley. So just make sure that you're planning your week and planning for just maybe limiting time outside because of how hot it's going to be. And this is what it's going to look like over the next 5 days along the coast. You can even see one of the warmest days, like I mentioned, Wednesday, upper 70s. We stay close to that through Friday. The average temperature generally for the downtown region will be close to the low 70s. So we're trending above average. And you can see that same thing for El Cajon. July average is right around 86 degrees, but we're going to be about 10 degrees warmer than that by Wednesday, close to those mid 90s, and trying to just hang on to those 90s actually through the end of the week. So here is a look at that 10-day forecast. Again, as you're planning your upcoming week, it's going to be a warm one for the coast. Those max daytime highs are going to be right around the low 80s on Wednesday, Thursday, possibly even into Friday. Wouldn't be surprised if we see some of that also on Tuesday. And of course, for the Inland Valley communities, like I just showed you, getting close to those 90s as we get into Tuesday and staying right around that through the end of the week and into next weekend. Because of that monsoonal activity, we still have the chance for rain. We have the chance for thunderstorms over the desert region, the mountains for today, tomorrow. Might take a little break by Tuesday as we continue to heat up, but you can see more of that activity makes its way back into the forecast as we get into midweek. As always, stay with NBC7 for the latest on your First Alert forecast. Have a great day.